begin, take note of this disclaimer that whatever that we share today is just our opinions, and it by no way is rule of thumb that you should always follow. So in short, we'll kind of cover what equity reports are, why you should do it, and how we all go about to do it. And in short, before we begin, just like to really share that equity reports are something that you use as an entry for jobs, especially if you want to apply for an analyst position. It's something really useful that you could use in your interviews, or your interviewer could even sit you down and ask you to prepare one on the spot and let them see, what's your style and if that's what they're looking for. So the report is something that you use to cover securities, industry, sectors, and at the end of the report, the most important thing is to actually give an actionable recommendation to the reader, usually an investor or client, on what they should do. Should they invest in this sector? Should they invest in this security? Whatever. And also it consolidates the industry. It's like a watered down version of what other research a person could find online. And your clients usually falls within funds, insurance companies, equity mutual funds, hedge funds, banks, financial institutions, your FIs, or your high net worth individuals who will potentially read your report. Those that you find on Bloomberg Terminal, all the analyst reports by JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, they are all analyst reports that you might come across when you're trying to do research on a certain stock or a certain company. Houses that do them would be like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, even our local banks like DBS, OCBC, they also do coverage reports that you could find on Bloomberg Terminal or even on SG Investors. And this is what a report will look like. So we have 4 types that we go into. First, we have the initiation report. These initiation reports, the word initiate means the first time they actually cover a company. So, example, this report on Apple development is the first time when the company IPO'd in 2004. So what it looks like, they kind of go into the strengths, they'll do sort of SWOT analysis. They won't really call it SWOT, but they'll talk about why you should invest in the company, why did the stock IPO at a certain price. So a few things to look out for is that they'll say initiation over the overweight, and also it'll say it's a generally long report. You can expect more than 50 pages on it. And not only do you see the stock details, but you also see the overall competition and industry dynamics. Second type you see is sector reports. So example, in real estate, you can look at CBRE, Knight Frank, detailed reports that include some discussions on companies. For other sectors, you can also look at banks. Citibank does a few on several oil and gas industries. And we also have economic reports. So these are on certain countries. Most of us, we can easily go to Euromonitor to get this, but certain banks will also cover on the economics of various countries, especially like APEC, North America, if you're interested in investing in these various countries. And finally, we have these quarterly result reports that us analysts look at the most. So whenever you want to invest in stocks, we'll kind of look back at past quarters, what several banks have kind of said about these certain stocks. These are usually 2 to 3 page reports, most importantly because investors and other people don't really have the time to read. So we usually just skim through it, and these have captured the essence of what are the results, why you should invest in the stock, or why should you sell it or hold it. So if we look at these percentages over here, it kind of recommends whether you should buy it, they use terms like overweight, hold, and sell. These are usually the opinions of the analyst. So if you look back at the quarterly report, they recommend overweight, right? So they're saying that you should buy it. And also another thing is that most of the reports are usually a buy or overweight report because part of the incentives for analysts to actually sell certain stocks. Like I mentioned earlier, the actionable recommendation is for the investor to do something. So in essence, the first page would be your persuasive opinion on why you should actually invest in something. So example, an opening paragraph would be on Tencent, you should buy something because they use very strong terms like stronger monetization of internet assets, expansion strategies, future growth, strong historical revenue. They talk about CAGR, compounded annual growth rate they've learned, and return of equity. For real estate companies, also see return of assets, and then they talk about how much debt the company will take. And why should you do investor equity reports? It's quite simple. As in personal investor is for your own due diligence on the company. It's a form of doing fundamental analysis rather than just seeing what the stock market says about this certain company. You also want to find out why this company is good, what kind of fundamentals does it have in terms of corporate governance, in terms of earnings, in terms of what strategy they do, if it's a developer, what key areas do they invest in, if it's oil and gas, how much resources do they have. Yeah. And like I mentioned, it's also for your analyst interview process. It's very useful to go right in an interview and show them something that you have done. And as a professional, it's earn higher commissions for trading activities. So going straight into how we do it, it's in short, it's just 7 steps. So you want to put your recommendations in the first page. You also cover the company background, investment thesis, catalyst, valuation, your risk, how to mitigate them, and also the worst case scenario. So you use certain analyst tools like Fortified Forces, use a SWOT analyst to actually kind of illustrate some of these things. Your DCF, all this will appear in your report. And this is what it looks like, done by some of our analysts. So overall, you can see that it has the recommendation target price. You have to have an interesting headline, and your stock data, your investment report summary, estimates and valuation. Okay, so this is actually done by our investment heads and vice head. I've not listed out anything. I've listed out some things on purpose. Can anyone identify some important things that have to appear on the first page as well? Any analysts? Anyone who's participated in internal stock pitch? So how you did this report? What did I miss out? Alright. No, you never put your face on your equity report. Okay, what's missing? Answer. Retail. Okay, I've actually missed out your investment risk, your catalyst, your key financials. So I've not labeled them on purpose, but they are all on this page. And all these are equally important because at a glance, you want to see what is on the copy page. Very disappointed at analysts today. But anyway, going on. How do you go about it is, you always start thinking like, oh, you want to do an equity report, but you can't just do an equity report. You need to think about what company you want to do on first, right? So you want to get an idea, and where do you get this from? For most of us, we go straight to the terminal. It's quite a shortcut, but if you have your own investment strategies like SG Investor or the NUS, you could kind of have an overview of the industry and see what stock you want to take. And of course, you have to do modeling because you want to do projections on the company. How would this company do 3 or 5 years from now? And then overall in this report, you have to generate an opinion. You can't just do a report and just say that, okay, this is the company, this stock. Like you have to give a certain recommendation. Is this a sector worth going to? Is this a stock worth buying? Yeah, so as the Bloomberg terminal that I've been mentioning so much is in Camry at the 3rd level of MBS. Yes, correct. MRB. And this is what it looks like. Sorry, I'm claiming I'm Mr. Student, but anyway, this is what a terminal looks like. It might look pretty bizarre on the first look, but this is your this red box is what guides you. So you start from the menu and you type in a certain equity that you want to go to. So for this screenshot, it's actually on Samsung, and the DES is short form for description. So how Bloomberg works is that you have certain shortcuts that you can use to access and find what you want. And you see from this description, you can see the profile, you can find issue info, ratios, revenue, earnings per share, industry info, all at one glance. You could also find this from other sources to double check, but Bloomberg kind of condenses this all in the page. These are some shortcuts you could use. The most important that we kind of look at is the description, BICO, ANR, BRC, EQRB. EQRB is what you can use to find your public comparables. So if you like to see what the industry looks like, this is one way you can go and see and compare all of them based on different valuation multiples, like your PE ratio, some of the financial ratios that Crystal and Jiren has mentioned last Thursday. And also some gist on the first page. So this is what an investment thesis looks like. usually have three key points. You kind of talk about earnings, you talk about you kind of talk about certain executions that they want to do in the next quarter or the past quarter, and also talk about certain valuations. What are they doing to kind of support the current valuations that they have or the outlook that you have on this company? Some key developments. So example, actually, Ming and I cover real estate, which is kind of why most of the examples have been used on real estate. We kind of look at what developments a developer is going to do, how are they going to manage their asset portfolios and investment strategies that they have. Those are some things that we put inside our industry portfolio. And also the special thing is that for real estate companies, they are very influenced by the industry. So that actually comes quite comes into being part of what. And this is your estimates. So it's 2007, A is for actual, E is for expected. And certain things that you want to put inside is for net income, EPS, certain valuation multiples that are relevant to the industry. So this is a very generic list. But depending on what stock you cover, certain valuations that matter more, you want to include them. Usually you use P ratios, you can also put yield, ego, EBITDA, different stuff. Yeah. And yeah, so yes, okay, so
okay, thank you, June. So now I will get right down to talking about the actual writing of the equity report. So over here you can see the full outline of the equity report. Total, there are 7 sections. You write in this sequence, starting from the company overview, industry outlook, investment thesis, so on and so forth, then ending off with investment risk. Yeah, so you will start writing all of this starting from the page number 2. Why do I say it's page number 2? If you recall from Jones' part, she mentioned that the first page is reserved for the summary page. So for the summary page, you only include the highlights, which is everything from the full outline minus the industry outlook and the financial analysis. So you will paraphrase and summarize this portion into that one page for the summary. Okay, so for the first section, which is the company overview section, the company information are readily available, so you can just get from the net and paraphrase them. But you need to take note of the important information that you need to include, which includes the market position of the company. You need to state whether the company is a dominant player in the industry, its business model, its key revenue drivers, because some companies is selling different types of products and also is operating in different business segments. And lastly, you want to talk about the geographical presence of the company, because for some company it is operating locally, and while some they are operating overseas as well, like the US or the Europe region. So the next section we want to talk about is the industry outlook section. For this section, we want to examine the health and competitive positioning of the company in a specific sector. So for this, we have 2 frameworks that we can use. First is the SWOT analysis. Second is the Porter's 5 forces analysis. Similarly, all this information are readily available. You can look up them at the industry reports and the company's annual reports. And so if you use the Porter 5 forces analysis as your framework, you can create this radii chart based on ratings that you provided for each of the factors. 0 for very low, then you go up to all the way up to 5, which is very high. Okay, so finally we reach the investment thesis section. The investment thesis is the main differentiating factor between a good equity report versus a bad equity report. So if I recall from June's part again, that she has mentioned that we have to stay neutral when we are reading analyst report. What we want to extract from this analyst report are the company information and whether we are able to think of contrarian views that has not been considered by the market. So let's say if you are able to think of such contrarian views and you want to use them as your investment thesis, you must be able to feel strongly towards them. Because when your readers look at your contrarian views and they ask about your views about the consensus opinion, if you are not able to justify them, then it will make your own contrarian view very, very weak. So besides being opinion-based, your investment thesis must also be forward-looking as well. And they must be backed by facts which include quantitative and qualitative aspects. Okay, so what I have here is a very good investment thesis that I got from my director's report, the Under Armour's report as well. Okay. So how they do it is that their first line, they start off with a very powerful one-liner that clearly showcases their opinion. Then after that, they explain their opinion, also back it up with facts, qualitatively and quantitatively, Lastly, they end off with a forward-looking sentiment to tell us how this investment thesis is going to impact on the market price in the future. So after you have written your first investment thesis, you want to do it again for 2 more times, so that in total you will be able to write 3 quality investment theses. So once again, I want to emphasize on the importance of writing good investment thesis, because after you write 3 quality investment theses, it is very well mean that half the battle is won for good equity report. So following the investment thesis section, you will write your catalysts. Catalysts are events where you project. They are events that actualize your investment thesis. And of course, they must be supported by trends of the market, of the sector, or even the company news. So in total, you need to provide at least 3 of them. Okay, so next section is the financial analysis section. For this section, you'll use your financial analysis skills that you have honed from your accounting modules. So for this section, you want to provide a detailed analysis of the company's historical financial performance and also do up a forecast of the future performance as well. For the forecasting, you can do up to 5 years or even 10 years, depending on the company that you are doing. And also for this analysis, you will be using financial ratios, which include liquidity ratios, profitability ratio, your financial leverage ratio. It will be even better if you can include sector-specific ratios as covered by the previous workshop. And also, you are able to use the two-point framework for the analysis as well. Also, you would like to comment on one-off events or even accounting gimmicks that you have spotted in the financials, because these are factors which will distort the financial results of the company. And what you want to do is you want to provide a clearer picture of the financial performance. Okay, so now that you have identified a great company or a terrible company depending on recommendation, the next question you would like to ask is how the market is actually valuing your company now, and at what position should you exit so that you are able to make the most amount of gains. So what we need to do here is a valuation of the company, and usually we will do it by 2 different methods. First is the DCF valuation, the second is the relative valuation. For the DCF valuation, it is an absolute valuation model that measures the company's intrinsic value. It uses future free cash flow projection and discount it to get the present value estimate. And the DCF financial modeling is where you are able to get your target price, where upon hitting it and you exit that position, you are able to gain the most amount of money. And for relative valuations, it estimates a company's value relative to its peers using common metrics such as EV over EBITDA, EV over EBIT, and P ratio. Okay, so I would also like to introduce some other valuation methods aside to the 2 that I have just spoken about. Okay, if you look down at conglomerates, which are huge companies that operates multiple business segments, SOTP valuation will be more suited to value this company instead of a DCF. So what I mean by SOTP, which stands for sum of the parts valuation, is that you value the business segments individually, then after that summing them up. For example, for Alibaba, it has its main commerce business and its cloud business. So what you need to do is you value each of them individually, sum them up. This will have better accuracy as compared when you use the DCF valuation. Okay, so if you look at under real estate, there is the DDM valuation method, which stands for dividend discount model. Usually this valuation you will use for dividend stocks, which means that they are usually used for companies who has a history of paying dividends to their shareholders. And also, if you look under natural resources, there's the asset-based approach. This method is used for asset-heavy companies. Okay, so for the actual methodology of doing out the financial modeling, it will not be covered in this workshop, rather it will be covered in the next workshop. Yeah, so now let's assume that you have finished your financial modeling and you have finished your relative valuation as well. So how you want to communicate your valuation is not just by sticking the entire DCF Excel spreadsheet under your valuation section, but rather we want to communicate the important information that we have used in our model and place it under our valuation sections. So what you need to include are these important information is listed. First is the projection horizon, whether it's projecting for 5 years or up to 10 years. For this section, what you want to do is you want to address the negative company development and industry developments that might pose a risk to your investment thesis. So common sources of investment risk that we might talk about comes from financial, operational, or regulatory. And one thing I would like to point out is that if your recommendation is a sell, the risk that you want to talk about are events that will cause your market price to rise instead. And after you have finished analyzing all your risks, you want to put them out in the risk assessment matrix. As you can see over here, they are characterized by the probability and severity of each risk that you have identified. So you can see that there are also some codes in them which refer to each individual risk that we have identified. B stands for business risk, M market risk, and C for credit risk. Okay, so there is actually still one last thing that you have to do after you finish this section, which is to dump your entire DCF, Excel spreadsheet, and any other important sources which you deem are important to your readers. You'll put them all under appendix. And with that, we have finished your equity report. And that's it for today's workshop.